welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Make your way over to Great Lakes Honda City today and Monday through Saturday all throughout the day, Monday through Saturday. So make sure you make your way over there. And of course, for their sales and service, as well as a look at the vehicles that they have new and used, you can go to Great Lakes Honda City.com. That's GreatLakesHondaCity.com for a sneak peek. And I want to thank Great Lakes Honda City for providing me with the vehicles that I feel safe with all throughout the last decade plus. I cannot thank them enough for all that they have done in my life, for my mom, for my dad, and for me as well. So thanks to Great Lakes Honda City. You're with us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on YouTube.com as well as on Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com, live internet streaming radio. So however you've connected with the show, we thank you so much for being a part of it here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And I definitely want to thank you all for the prayers and the positive energy. So it has definitely been an interesting last week and last few days here and hours and whatnot. So I do want to thank you all for your love. I want to thank you for your prayers. I want to thank you for your kindness and your generosity of time. The messages that I received were very, very nice. I saw people in person and also got some private messages. So I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart as, you know, we kind of work through some stuff here on my end. So I just want to say thank you so very much. I mean, getting up this morning, do I feel 100%? No. And people that know me, people have watched the show and listened to the show for years, you know that I typically, you know, I'm not going to sit here and complain if I'm not feeling well or something like that. You know, I just work through it. And so, I mean, I know that there's things going on in this world that are far greater. It has definitely been an interesting last couple days, and my body's kind of been off. And so I appreciate, like I said, I appreciate the prayers. I appreciate y'all understanding why we weren't doing the show yesterday. I was in a doctor's office. I was there for a bit, and when everything got done at the doctor's office, it just kind of seemed like the right time to relax and kind of take a deep breath and spend some time with family. So I do want to thank you for your love and your support, and I want to thank you for just sending over really, really kind messages and thoughts and everything. So, you know, we will get forward, right? We will continue to move on and move ahead. And, you know, it is. I mean, getting to see some of my friends last night and getting to have those hugs and that love and to pray together really, really does mean a lot to me. So I want to thank all of you. And I know I've said it repeatedly this morning, but I do want to thank you. I wish I could sit here this morning and tell you that I feel all better, but not yet. And, you know, so I'm just hoping that everything that just say a prayer, you know, I pray for y'all always. And I pray that y'all will send a prayer back my way as well. And, you know, we work through life, right? We do this thing together. So thank you for your love and thank you for your prayers and thank you for your kindness. So with that being said, inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios and inside of MonPazPopcorn.com is what's popping. We're going to start the show off as we always do on a Friday with the Annoying Moment of the Week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt. From there, we'll jump to Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver, brought to you by Chick-fil-A Cicero. And we'll get into today's topic, which is Time is a Blessing. Then we'll get into the Top Dog of the Week 10 minutes early because Papa Joe is going to be on the show today. He's supposed to be on yesterday, but obviously going to the doctor's office and having to go through a procedure, go through some stuff, I just had to take some time away. So shout out to the Top Dog of the Week that we will announce at 9:50 a.m. Eastern Time, a little bit earlier today, probably presented by K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare. And then Papa Joe will join me to speak about his Go Gators down in Gainesville, Florida, as they've just won the 2025 men's basketball Division I national championship. And we'll also talk about the Major League Baseball season as we do with Papa Joe every single week. So a lot of great stuff coming up. Before we get to any of that, I want to remind you all that Dwight Freeney is going to be at Destiny USA tomorrow. So make sure you make your way out to Destiny USA and definitely get some time there with the Hall of Famer. Dwight Freeney, a Hall of Famer and a fantastic player in the history of Syracuse as well as the NFL. He is going to be signing autographs, taking pictures, and providing VIP opportunities this Saturday, April 12th, at Cooperstown Connection inside of Destiny USA in Syracuse, New York. And so make sure you get over there and you enjoy this time with Dwight Freeney. So Dwight Freeney, and I'm going to be providing also the link so you can buy your tickets to this event, because you do have to buy a ticket in order for you to get an autograph. So make sure that you know that this is going on, which you do now. And of course, make sure that you buy your tickets. So a lot of great stuff coming up here where sports truly meets that thing called life. And you can get your tickets for this event. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the Facebook feed here, and then I'm going to put it in the YouTube feed as well. So get tickets now for Dwight Freeney. The event is tomorrow. You can still buy tickets today. Don't waste a moment. Get those tickets so that you can meet a Hall of Famer and get an autograph or a photo op or both, Dwight Freeney, this Saturday, April 12th, before the spring game. So he's going to be there from 12:30 to 1 for a VIP signing, and then from 1 to 3 for the regular signing. So make sure that you follow the link and get your tickets now so you don't miss out on this great event that is coming up. And so we just added the ticket link to our Facebook feed, and now we are adding it to our feed here for YouTube so that you can make sure that you get that as well. But I want to thank Cooperstown Connection as well as their partners and everyone that's working on this fantastic event to bring a Hall of Famer here to Syracuse, New York, in order to celebrate him and celebrate the opportunity for him to be around the fans. And of course, it's all happening before the spring game, so that's really cool too, that you get to meet him and hang out with him and get an autograph and then go right over to the spring game. So meet a Syracuse legend and then go see the future of Syracuse athletics. So make sure that you get over there now and get your tickets on the link that we just put up for you. And I appreciate everyone that's working on this, of course. And of course, much love to Vincent and to everybody out there that's been working on this event tirelessly. We really do appreciate it. With that being said, it's time to jump into the annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt.
Dan Tortora proudly brings you...
Is that for real? Are you kidding me?
The annoying moment of the week.
I really, honestly, I don't know how to respond to this.
Presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street. It's what happy tastes like.
Do you have to be that crazy? I guess so.
So my annoying moment of the week, man, I could go to a lot of places with this one, but my annoying moment of the week, one of them's got to be the way that my stomach and my chest have felt throughout this week and parts of last week. So I'm going to have to say the annoying moment of the week has to do with that, right? When you don't feel right and you don't feel good, you can't really figure out what it is. I'm not a person that typically goes to the doctor unless I genuinely have to. Like, if I have a fever and it's not going away, if I feel like kind of cold and warm at the same time for multiple days in a row, you know, if there's just a certain amount of pain, but I really try to not go to the doctor. And it has to do with a lot of things. You know, you don't want to go and get, you know, people don't want to go and get bad news, right? So a lot of people don't go, but also because, you know, I've been misdiagnosed a bunch of times. I've gone to the doctors and it hasn't been, you know, a situation where it made me any better. Sometimes I left there and I felt like they didn't listen to me. They didn't hear me out. So, it's been hard, but I had to find a new doctor. I had to find a new place for me to go to. And I think I found a good place. I've been there a bunch of times, very helpful, sent me messages yesterday and gave me information and kind of broke down like, this is what we think and this is what we can do and this is what's going on and whatnot. So I do really appreciate the doctor that I have now. But going to the doctor can be an annoying moment because, some doctors will just throw pills at you. Some doctors won't listen to you. Some doctors, you show up 15 minutes early, they see you an hour and a half late. So, you kind of never know. And the doctor's office that I had before this doctor's office was just absolutely terrible. And when I wasn't feeling well a couple of years ago, they refused to treat me, refused to help me, refused to give me any information. And after going to a specialist, he was like, wow, if somebody had helped you a couple of weeks ago, you'd be better by now. And I ended up being sick like on and off throughout a period of months. So I do want to say that it is an annoying moment when you don't have a good doctor, but I do like the doctor's office that I have now, so I want to give them a shout out. Another annoying moment, I would say just travel. This past Friday, and I'm not going to name the airline, we're not here to defame or deface. That's not what we do here on the show. We promote, we love, we support, we joke around, but this isn't a place for personal attacks. And so, because I don't like them, so why would I give them? And so I'm not going to name the airline. But my dad and I, we went to New York City. I brought him down there for his birthday, and we went to a Diamondbacks-Yankees game. And so, Pops and I were only down there for a short while. We flew down on Thursday. The game was on Thursday. And, so we flew down, got to the hotel, and then really just kind of freshened up, so to speak, as they would say. I shaved. And then we left and jumped in an Uber to go to Yankee Stadium. So we get to Yankee Stadium. There's a few annoying moments, and we shared some of those last week. But the one that we didn't get to share because we were doing the show Friday morning is what happened Friday afternoon and Friday night. So my dad and I, got up on Friday. We did the show together. Y'all can go back and watch it. It's the first time my dad and I have ever been on camera together for Wake Up Call, so it's pretty cool. And it was actually really cool. And so we did the show, and we checked out of the hotel, got an Uber, went over to the airport. So we get over to the airport at about 12:30, maybe a little bit before. And our flight's at like 3:25 or something like that. So we got this mid-afternoon flight. We're like, okay, let's get to the airport. We'll get some good food in us, relax, have a good time. And my stomach was hurting. As you know, my stomach's been bothering me, and part of the reason why I was off the air, well, it was the reason why I was off the air yesterday. It's kind of chest pain, stomach pain. So I'm off so I'm not feeling that great. I'm off. And normally when I go to this airport, like I'll go to Starbucks, I'll get a chai, this and that, but I'm just feeling really off. So my dad and I, we end up going to get subs. And then I got, instead of an acai bowl, I got like a dragon fruit one just to kind of try something different. And that's an annoying moment of the week. They didn't put any of their prices on this place, and it's not the place I typically go to. And so there's no prices. The airport's so famous for just not putting prices on anything because if they did, nobody would buy anything. And so I buy this dragon fruit bowl, and I didn't get a large, I got a regular. And when I think when I ended up getting charged for it was like $21. $21 for this thing, right? And the place I normally go to, it's like $14, right? So that was annoying and ridiculous because after I had already said everything that I wanted and placed my order, they oh yeah, it's 21.23 or whatever the heck it was, which is absolutely insane. It's a full meal for some fruit. I mean, that's what the bowl was. It was fruit. So I get that. We sit down. Me and, Dad and I are talking. And then we get up and we go to our gate. And I think our gate had changed because it's supposed to be somewhere and then they moved it somewhere else. So we go to it. Yeah. So we had to come out and go to a different place. And when we go to that gate, we're like, okay, him and I are tired. We had a long night and we're going to just kind of sit and we're going to sleep. So we're sitting in the airport and there's all of this space. There's wide open space. And this person decides to sit to my right and she decides to have full-blown on-the-phone conversations loud. Then there's a group of people on my dad's left and in front of us, and they all leave where they were in the corner by the window, and they come over to my dad and I, who were sitting by ourselves and were eyes closed, obviously resting, and they come over to us, and there's like 6 of them, and they start having a full-blown loud conversation right next to us. So they're loud on one side, loud on the other side. My dad and I are trying to sleep. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, I'm going to like jump off the top of this building. Like I can't. And obviously it's a joke, but I was like, this is insane. So amidst all of this, I find out, I saw something online with my buddy. I find out that his mom has cancer. Sweet family. Wonderful woman. Find out she has cancer. He's going through a million things right now. He doesn't need this. This dude, he like goes through fires and he always comes out stronger and he always comes out better, but he does not, he shouldn't have an ounce of it. I mean, I don't want anybody to go through a fire. I know that we have to at times. And, so I'm feeling for him and I'm upset for him. And then we find out our flight's delayed. And then it gets delayed again. And then it gets delayed again. And then it finally lands. And for some reason, it keeps delaying. And the plane's just sitting there. So I was like, why are we... you think these people have been waiting. We've been waiting 3-4 hours for our flight. You think as soon as that flight gets in, you're going to clean it quick and put us on it. Unless there's a mechanical error, let's get out of here. So we finally get on the plane. We all sit down. Door's about to shut. Flight attendants at the front of the plane. All our bags are where they need to be. Everybody's buckled in and ready to go. And right as we're about to leave the gate, she says, guess what, everybody? You got to get off the plane. The pilot timed out. Now, for those of you that have never been on a flight, or for those of you that don't know what timed out means, when a pilot and or crew member times out, they can only fly a certain amount of time and then they have to have a rest before they could fly again. Well, this said pilot was about to time out. Now, once the door shuts, it doesn't matter. They could be like a minute to their timeout, right? Let's say they've, and this is just an example, let's say they've flown for like 13 straight hours, right? Flown, landed, whatever, take a break, get a coffee, but 13 hours. So they're supposed to take a break. Well, if it's 13 hours and 1 minute, they can't fly. But if that door closes at 12 hours and 59 minutes, well, they can still fly, even though they're going to hit 13 hours in the air. So we're in, like, we've been waiting hours upon hours upon hours upon hours. And they tell us, guess what? Y'all got on the plane. Now y'all got to get off because the pilot timed out, which they obviously knew when they were filling the plane. And there was no call to action. There was no sense of urgency. It's almost like they wanted to piss people off. So then you get off the plane and then you stand in a long line. At this point, my dad and I have been in the airport for about 7 hours, and we're only 45 minutes away from home on a flight. We're like 4 hours, 4.5 hours if we drove. So at this point, my dad and I could have driven home if we knew the situation. So then we get off the plane. We go through the thing. The person at the counter, not nice, looks like she's half asleep, not helpful, not even looking me in the eye. And customer service is important to me. I run a business, and the money that I earn is important to me. If I'm going to give you a penny of my hard-earned money, I want you to actually respect me, look at me, care about the fact that I came into your establishment, and after completely screwing over these people, the least you can do is look at me, smile, and say, how is your night going? I'm so sorry, sir. Nothing. So my dad and I go through the process. They tell us, you got to go to another airport. So now we got to find a taxi. We got to pay for the taxi. We got to drive across town. We get in a taxi. We drive across town. We get to that airport. And once we're at that airport, now we got to walk again. But now at this point, it's dinner time. At this point, we need to eat. So now we're looking for food. Keep in mind, my stomach's been hurting for the past week. So I'm trying to figure out what, like, I have hunger. I have like a normal appetite, but I have an abnormal stomach feeling. So I need to find food, but I also need to find food where I'm going to be okay on the plane and I'm not going to be, in pain. So we find a place, we eat the food, we get up, we go to our gate. So now our flight's supposed to take off at a certain time. We're sitting there waiting. We get on the plane. Now we're on the plane. We're sitting on the plane. Nobody's saying anything. And a lot of the people that were on the prior flight at the other airport are now thinking, oh my goodness, they're going to do this to us again. Nobody trusts anybody. Nobody's feeling good about anything. And then for some reason, we just sit and wait and barely move. And then we finally move. And then we get forward and then we take off and we get home. And my dad and I get home after midnight. So we spent half a day trying to get home on a flight that takes 45 minutes. And all I wanted to do was go to bed. And I was so stressed out. I was so upset. I had been dealing with my stomach. And all I wanted to do was sleep. So that is my annoying moment of the week. I think y'all can understand why. But that's definitely got to be my annoying moment. So with that being said, the annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by the great team at Carvel DeWitt. What isn't annoying is that Carvel DeWitt has my Sunday that you can go and get 7 days a week. And on Wednesdays, it's buy one, get one. Head off to Carvel DeWitt, the longest standing Carvel in America. The longest standing Carvel franchise. The oldest Carvel franchise in all of America is in my backyard and your backyard in central and upstate New York. Head to Carvel DeWitt today. Let them know the DT sent you and get the DT Dolphin. An ode to the Lemoyne College Dolphins. The DT Dolphin is mint chocolate chip ice cream, hot fudge, whipped cream, and a cherry with green and gold sprinkles and a chocolate dolphin jumping out of your whipped cream. And I'm pretty confident that they're the only Carvel in the country that has chocolate dolphins that they can put in your sundaes. So make sure you go and get it today. This unique Sunday is only at Carvel DeWitt, available 7 days a week, and buy one, get one on Wednesdays. With that being said, inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, we're going to take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, it's time for Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver, and it's all about time, so kind of fitting. Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McInerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Bryan and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Bryan and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Bryan's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Here is a special message from Brian Bruno,
owner of Servomation Refreshments Incorporated.
I grew up in the family business, had the experience of working for a national food service company with thousands of employees. And as much as I enjoyed the experience I had, there was something about, owning my own company and being able to change the things I saw wrong with the industry firsthand, which is why I moved back to my hometown in Canastota, New York to launch Servomation. It was back in 2007. When we first started the business in '07, really you didn't find any machines with credit card readers. There was a lack of variety in machines. You got stuck with basically whatever the vending company wanted to sell that day. There was a lot of inefficiencies in the business, and those were all things that we saw as opportunities, both from a customer level to improve and from an operating level to be more efficient. We've really been at the forefront of introducing retail technology into our space. We were doing self-checkout back in 2009 before it really became a national phenomenon. The whole point of it isn't to just improve the customer experience. It's to make it feel more like a retail environment where people don't have to be afraid of what they're buying behind glass. They don't have to be afraid of not being able to see the ingredients of the packages. It was an easy transaction from that standpoint. If we were to reinvent something, we wanted to make sure what we were making looked and felt more like a deli and not like something that you would traditionally see in a vending machine. I was tired of hearing for years the customers say the wheel of death because the vending machine would circle around with the same tuna salad in it. What we wanted to do was it really changed the perception of that food. So allowing customers to touch it, allowing customers to feel the weight of it, allow customers to see the freshness of it, and also the variety of it really helps them change the perception and ultimately the value of what we bring to them. The point of differentiation you have to make is either in value or the quality. And I think on both of those fronts, Servomation has really, in large part, changed that value system for employees. So they no longer have to worry about bringing their food from home or having to leave their desk during the day and rush out to get back in time for their break to end. We're bringing something that they can count on in their break room every day, and they know it's going to be there, they know it's going to be fresh, and they don't have to worry about it being sold out or something that they don't enjoy. We've also heavily invested in flavored water machine, so you can get a glass of water with a fresh piece of fruit in it, along with bean to cup coffee machine. So there's not a day that goes by we're not surprised when we get customers that call us and say, we didn't know you could do all this. We're really lucky to have a strong group of dedicated employees. Most of our employees have been with us since inception. They're family to us, and people like doing business with people they like and trust. And I think the same thing goes for employees. And in a day and an age where there's a lot of corporations that just look at an employee as a number and don't get to know them, that's just not the way I was raised or how I like to do business. So we're a little old-fashioned. We like getting close to our employees. We like knowing how we can help them. We like knowing how we can improve their lives, adjust their schedules, whatever it may be to help improve their quality of life. And we think in the end that makes for a happier employee. We're fortunate enough to have really grown over the last several years, and from Pennsylvania to Massachusetts to Connecticut, we really do have a strong connection, even though we're not in the rooms every day with these employees. There's not one single employee that we feel like we don't know, and certainly we know they can call us at any time, and they're definitely treated as family to us. I wake up every single day really excited to surprise our customers in a good way. The one thing I can tell you is I think that every one of our employees and every one of our customers will continue to be at the forefront of every decision we make.
Find out how Servomation can help you and your business by going to servomation.com.
And welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and we thank you for all of your kindness, your generosity, and of course your prayers that have come in over the past 24 hours or so. So appreciate that so very much here on Wake Up Call and in general. And with that being said, we talk about this beautiful thing called time, right? Spend your time wisely. Time is that one thing that you can't get back, right? You cannot get back time, ever. It's a gift that you give knowing that you can't get it back. And that's why the people that you give your time to is important. The people that, the things that you give your time to. When people work a job, right? You work a job that you dislike, and you put all this time in. And you're like, well, I'll find a job that I like someday. And it's like, how do we know how much time we have? And that's always been something that, is on people's minds, right? So that's our topic today for Lead. Learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver. Proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero. Time is a blessing. Time is a blessing. Having time is a blessing. Anybody that will tell you, see, here's the thing. There's songs about, people find out that they get a diagnosis and they find out that they're sick and they find out that they only have a certain amount of time to live. And what do? They appreciate time. They go out and do things, right? They go out and they go skydiving. I mean, the song is about skydiving, Rocky Mountain climbing. They ride a bull and this and that because they're fearless, right? Because they know they have a finite amount of time, so they're going to enjoy it. The thing about life, the thing that we have to learn in life is to spend our time, live like we're dying. Like you have to live like you're dying. You got to love hard. You got to work hard and go after the things that you want. I've had people attack my job. I've had people attack my character. I've had people attack my ability to do my job. I've had people question me. I've had people attack me for the person that I am. I've had people attack me for a lot of different reasons. And there's this saying that the way somebody treats you says nothing about you and everything about them. And when I see somebody working hard at a job, I don't care what job you're doing. You could be a janitor. You could be working at McDonald's. You could be a doctor, neurosurgeon. If you're working your job and you're doing the best you can, that sticks out to me. I could literally go into Chick-fil-A and see somebody working at the counter. And if they're happy and they're kind and they're nice and I can feel their spirit and their spirit is pure and is beautiful, and then I go into like a 5-star hotel and the person's looking down and mumbling their words and barely paying attention to me, guess what? I'm going to care more about that experience with the person at Chick-fil-A's counter than I do at the 5-star hotel because of the way that person treated me. It's all about how you treat people. And with time being a blessing, I don't want to wait for bad news. They say people don't appreciate what they have until it's gone. People don't appreciate their life until they get a death sentence. Why do we live like that? Why do we not live our lives to the fullest until we're told you have so much time to live? Why do we not chase our dreams until something happens in our life? Yeah, I realize that with family is like there's a lot of my family I won't see unless somebody dies. It's the only time we see each other, for death or a wedding. And you think to yourself, why are we only getting together for this like monumental moment or a sad moment? You can't get through to everybody. You can't reach everybody. I've learned that the hard way. Not everybody listens. Not everybody hears. Not everybody cares. And you don't matter to certain people. You really don't. And it's funny how, like, if I said that last year, that would have hurt me to say that out loud, but I know that it's true. To certain people, you don't matter. You just don't. And so your time, who you spend your time with, what you spend your time doing, where you spend your time. When I talk to people and they're like, yeah, I live in Connecticut, but I want to live in Florida. And I'm like, well, how long you lived in Connecticut? Oh, the past 13 years. Well, when are you going to move to Florida? Well, someday. And they're probably never going to move to Florida. But they talk about it. There's a lot of people that talk, right? I want love. But when it comes to them, they throw it away. I want a good job. I want a good opportunity. When it comes to them, they get afraid of it. A lot of people say what they want, but they're not willing to fight for it. They're not willing to grow for it. They're not willing to heal so that they can have it. They just say they want it. A lot of people want to do things. I would love to own my own business. You hear that from people all the time. But I actually own my own business. And It's not easy. It's beautiful, but you have to work at it. I can't wake up and just not care about my business today. I can't wake up and just not care about my clients, not care about my viewers, not care about my listeners, promise I did something and then just don't do it. I have a big conscience. If I don't do something, it sits with me. If I don't do something, it's right there in my head. And like this morning, I know 3 videos that I have to work on, so they're sitting with me. And when people watch my show and they're like, "Oh, Dan, you must be fine. You're on the air right now." I could be hurt. I flat yesterday with the stomach and the stuff in my chest, and this morning, I don't feel 100%. I want to be in bed, and then I also want to be out in the world because time is a blessing. People have no idea how you feel, and how dare somebody act like they do. You know, what do they say? Always treat people with kindness and goodness because you never know what they're going through. Always. Always. Because you have no idea what they're going through. Person might be weaving in and out of traffic and you might think that person's such a jerk. But then you find out that they're trying to get to the hospital because their baby's about to be born. And they had to leave for a minute because their wife said, "Hey, could you go pick up the bag? We forgot something." So they go home. They've been at the hospital for 13 hours. They go home and they get a phone call. Baby's coming right now. And they're 45 minutes from the hospital. They're trying to make it there in 20. You never know what people are going through, man. That's why you got to be nice to people. That's why people, when they're mean to you and they're mean to you and they're mean to you and they're mean to you, it's like, yo, that says everything about you. It says nothing about me. I don't have time to be mean to people. And when people fight with me and I react, I always feel bad. Because if you can get me to fight with you, that means you're really trying to fight. That means you have beaten me down to a place that I don't want to be. Because I don't fight. Not like that. I'll fight for goodness. I'll fight for kindness. I'll fight for Jesus Christ. I will fight for God the Father. I will fight for the Holy Spirit. But I don't want to fight over stupid stuff. Sit in a car with me for any day of the week. 5 people in the car. Dan, where you want to go for dinner? I don't care. Because if somebody's in that car and they're picky, and somebody's in that car and they're moody, and somebody's in that car and they're difficult, just pick a place, man. I'll find something to eat. I mean, that's how I am. I'll find something to eat. My stomach's been off, and, you know, I've been nervous to eat certain foods and this and that. But last night, my buddy Isaac, you know, my brother, I had promised him we were going to go do dinner, and he was kind of like, "Hey, man, like, if you're not feeling good, we're not." I said, "No." I said, "Bro, it's not about the food. It's about just sitting with you, about being with my best. It's about just hanging out, man." That's it. I was like, I'm not going to miss this. They didn't think I was going to come to trade night for my client last night to support them because of how I was feeling. So my brother's telling me, "You don't have to come to dinner." Trade night's telling me, my client's telling me, "You don't have to come out here." But I showed up because even when I feel like crap, if I can make it, I'm going to make it. And because time to me is a blessing. I love the people I work with. I love them. See, I'm not a typical business. I don't look at people and see dollar signs. I look at people and I see their personalities. I look at people, I see their dreams and aspirations. I see their character. I see how they treat people. I can't work with people that are mean people. I can't work with people that are disrespectful. Like there's no, it's a conflict of interest for me. It's like I'm interested in working with you, but I'm conflicted by the fact that you don't treat people well. And so when I talk about the businesses that I work with, there's people behind those businesses that I trust, I respect, I have a good relationship with. We have similar values. We have morals. A lot of us believe in God. And that's important to me. It's important to me. If you don't value me, you don't have to work with me. If you don't value me, we don't have to talk. If you don't value me, there's no conversation. I'm not going to sit down at a table with someone who doesn't value me. That could be romantically, friendship, work, family. If you don't respect me and you don't value me and you can't work with me, then we got nothing to talk about. You can't compromise with someone who's uncompromising. You can't be selfless with someone who's selfish. You can't. There's a lot of relationships in my life where you try to be selfless, but the person's so selfish that you get to a point of like, I'm selfless, but like I'm being abused for it. And you have to learn. And this whole time is a blessing when it comes to lead, and the topic today presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero, you really have to think about the time you're spending and who you're spending it with. Because time is not something that's ever going to come back to you. Ever. And, you know, I'm only going to be 39 once, and I'm only going to be 39 on April 11th, 2025 once. So if you don't respect me, I'm not going to be around you. If you're not kind to me, I'm not going to be around you. If you stress me out, I'm not going to be around you. If you're a negative person, I'm not going to be around you. If you hang things over my head, I'm not going to be around you. If you're unforgiving and you keep a record of my wrongs, I'm not going to be around you. If you don't treat me the way you want to be treated, I'm not going to be around you. And we should all live a life like that. We should all live life like that, because some of us treat people the way they treat us, right? Somebody's mean to you, so you're mean back because you feel like you have a right to be. Some of us treat people far better than they treat us. But you have to think about your time. Don't wait until you have a bad diagnosis to say, well, I should probably live my life. Don't wait until you lose something or someone to be like, man, I should fix myself. I should get right. You know, that saying that I've heard from when I was a child, you don't appreciate what you got until it's gone. I'm 39 years old and I'm watching adult people just letting great opportunities go, great people go. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, they are grown people, 30s, 40s, 50s, 70s. And they still don't understand, and they have to lose everything in order to want it. They have to be faced with pain and angst and anxiety and depression and frustration in order to realize that they lost something good. Why do we not appreciate what we have when we have it? Time comes to you once. Every day you wake up, God is telling you, I'm not done with you yet. So if you went to bed screaming and yelling and disrespecting someone and you woke up doing the same thing, you just spit in God's face. You just spit in his face. If you went to bed mean and you woke up mean, you spit at God. Does it make you feel good? If you went to bed saying, God, I'm going to do better and I'm going to go after the job I want, and you woke up and you went to the same old dead-end job and you didn't put out your resume and you didn't put out your work and you didn't do what you needed to do, you're spitting at God. You are spitting on yourself, really. You know, every day is a new beginning. It's never too late to say, I'm sorry. It's never too late to ask, can I work it out? It's never too late to say, can we try this job thing? Can we try this partnership? It's never too late to try. It is never too late to apologize. But we live in a world where people are very egotistical. They're very selfish. And they're only concerned with what they need and what they want, instead of asking other people, what do you need? Any business that works with me would tell you they're not sponsors. They're partners. And people say, well, how can they be a partner? Do they have like a stake in your business? No, they don't have. They're not on a board in my company. They're a partner. Well, how can they be a partner? Because I work with them. A sponsor will hand you money one time or once a month or whatever, right? A sponsor gives you money and you put their logo up. That's a sponsor. A partner is what I got last night. A partner, a business who works with me, who partners with me in the professional realm, and who personally was like, how are you doing? Are you feeling okay? Do you need anything? Let me give you a hug. That's a partner. It goes beyond simply transaction. See, people live life transactionally sometimes, right? They get things from people. And when they feel like they've gotten enough from you, they go on to the next person. And that has happened to me personally. It's happened to me professionally. Somebody will take from me, take my love, take my time, take my money, take my trust. And when they're done, they go take from somebody else. Transaction. I use you until I don't want to anymore. I use you and I abuse you until I'm done and I can go do it to somebody else. You ever realize somebody hurts you really, really bad and you stick up for yourself and then it gets worse? You ever wonder why it gets worse? Because people that are controlling you do not want you to know that. People that are abusing you do not want you to react. Right? What do they say? A bully can only be a bully as long as there's something there to bully. So if you leave the situation, that bully is going to get more angry. Because what's a bully if there's nothing to bully? And what you have to realize in life is if time is truly important to you, why are you hanging around people that bully you, that disrespect you, that put you down, that you're scared to look at your phone, you're scared to come home, you're scared to answer your phone because you don't know what today is going to bring, how much of a jerk you are today, what name you're going to be called today, how you're going to be sworn at today, how many times you're going to be hung up on today. It's not a life for anybody to live. And I pray that those people that create that anxiety and that stress and that pain would change their ways. Because people say, Dan, why you always pray for the perpetrator and the victim? Because if you don't pray for the perpetrator, if you don't pray for the abuser, if you don't pray for the instigator and the stressor, then there's always going to be victims. I pray for everyone that's been victimized, but I also pray for the people that are doing the victimization. Because if I don't pray for them to stop, they're just going to victimize somebody else. Somebody can call me up and say, Dan, I was in a really abusive relationship. Can you pray for me? Yeah, but I'm going to pray for the person that abused you too. Because you might have got out of that relationship, but that don't mean it's going to stop. They're going to go on to the next person. I had a teacher that I had information upon information upon information in college. And if I actually trusted the people above him, I would have gone forward with a case against him because of what he did to me. Guess what? I found out he did it to other people after me. So when you're the victim in the moment, it sits with you. But what you realize in life is we got to pray for the victims and the perpetrators. We have to. Because we have to pray that people stop hurting people. You know, I'm the type of person where if I'm upset in the moment, I want to cool down. I might say something I don't mean, but I want to cool down. I want to get right, and then I want to move forward. When you're talking to someone that doesn't want to move forward and they're stuck in it and they're mad and they're angry and they just keep punching you and punching you and punching you and punching you, I pray for those people, man. I pray for those people. Because when I wake up in the morning, if I love somebody and there's a problem, I'm going to work it out. But when somebody tells you they love you and they don't work it out, they don't love you, man. They don't love you. Because you got to be pretty darn stupid to give up love. Because everybody makes mistakes. And everybody has moments. If you really love somebody, you work it out. Jerry, feel better, brother. And I hope all your doctor's appointments go well. I send you my love and my appreciation. And to everybody that needs a prayer right now, why don't we pray, right? Chick-fil-A Cicero, led by the fearless and amazing Jimmer Sikowski, speaking on today's topic, time is a blessing. Why don't we say a prayer today? In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. God, we come to you today humble. We come to you today knowing that We are not perfect. Sometimes we are wrong. And we ask for your forgiveness. We ask for you to forgive us for the words and the actions that we've said and done that have hurt people or hurt ourselves. We ask you to help them to forgive us. We ask you to forgive us, to have mercy on us, to heal us completely and for good, and no matter what, to heal us through you, and to help us handle whatever comes our way in and out of our control. Handle it well. There's a lot that we don't control. Help us to handle it well. There's a lot we control ourselves. It's really the only thing we can. Help us to handle ourselves well. Please cleanse us of every sin and wrongdoing. Please absolve us of every sin and wrongdoing, and help us to have the opportunity for salvation and eternal life. No matter how old we are, what state we're in, or what we've been through, may we just be getting started in our lives. May we truly just be getting started, and may everything beautiful be ahead of us. God, may today be our best day, and may tomorrow make today look like it was a shell of that day. So may our best days be ahead of us. May today be wonderful and tomorrow be better. May we be healthy, safe, and happy, filled with all of your most precious gifts to do your will and be well. And may we have a wonderful day, night, and so on that are long, fun, and go by slowly, whether we're traveling, staying put, or both. And may we be safe and sound with all of our loved ones, even those that are in heaven and us here on earth. May we all be connected through you, because dying, Jesus destroyed our death, and rising, he restored our life. God, please, please bring an end to the storm. Make us better because of the storm, and help for good things to happen, cooler heads to prevail, and whatever is in your will, may it be done. Your will over our want, as impossible as it looks right now. May we follow you. May you guide us to you and to what's meant for us, and guard us from what is not you and not meant for us. God, please heal the day in Jesus' most precious name. No matter how much pain we're in right now, may we have faith in you. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, and may we have faith in ourselves. Amen. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. When we spin back around, I will tell you my top dog of the week right after this.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the Whole Frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge, and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item, available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. it's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. It is now time for our top dog of the week, proudly presented by the fantastic team at K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare. So, coming to you with the top dog of the week, and of course, Papa Joe is also going to be joining us on the broadcast here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. So, a lot of great stuff coming up here. We're going to bring you inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios the top dog of the week. Top dog of the week here, brought to you by K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare. And of course, Papa Joe is waiting in the wings right now. He is here on the line with us, so he's going to be on with us in just a moment, but not before we bring you the top dog of the week. And PJ is going to like my top dog of the week. My top dog of the week this week, folks, is going to be none other than Mr. Todd Golden. Todd Golden he's golden right now. He's going to be golden in the history of the Florida Gators as Todd Golden wins with his team the 2025 Men's Division I NCAA Basketball Tournament Championship. My top dog of the week, Todd Golden, to celebrate the Go Gators as he helps guide his team to a national championship. The Florida Gators end up being the best number one seed in the country. They were the fourth overall number one seed, but they were the only number one seed left at the end of the Men's Division I NCAA basketball tournament. The number one overall seed, Auburn, was defeated by Florida in the SEC, and in that SEC matchup. And then Duke was defeated by Houston, and then Houston was defeated by the Florida Gators. So that means that we have the champions, the Florida Gators. Some people might have not expected this and thought that this was going to happen, but guess what? The reality is the reality, and this morning when you wake up and for the rest of history, you will know that the Florida Gators are the national champions for the 2025 NCAA Men's Basketball Tournament, and I want to congratulate Todd Golden. My other top dog of the week, I'm just going to say people that love you. Because people that love you, they're there for you. And in this past week, the conversations that I've had with family and friends, I cannot thank them enough for their love. I cannot thank them enough for their support, for reminding me in the 11th hour exactly who I am. When people try to change you, when people try to discredit you, defame you, degrade you, and push you down, when you have people in your life that can remind you who you are, what you're about, why you're about that, and the people that know you even when you feel like you don't know yourself, those are my top dogs of the week. Papa Joe, MT, and Joey included. So let's give it one more bark. Top dog of the week, proudly presented by K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare and K-9 Campground Dog Boarding. Cannot thank them enough for what they do and their care for our dogs in East Syracuse, right off of Bridge Street. We look forward to seeing you there. You can get more information by going to K-9 Kamp.com. And of course, the daycare is on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, New York. Their phone number, 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110. With that being said, the man of our second hour here, you know him, I know him, I love him, you love him. He's going to be on the phone today, so we're going to bring in his picture, as he will not be picture-in-picture with us. We're doing the phone with the Go-So, the grand old smooth one, Papa Joe, PJ, and the man that gets to celebrate his Go Gators national championship this morning. Papa Joe, he's felt good on the show before, but now PJ gets to take that Gator chomp and put it right in front of MT, who's always trying to do that tomahawk chalk for Florida State. PJ, how we doing today?
Oh, good morning, Dad. Dude, that's a nice preface there. I like all that stuff. I'm still on cloud nine. I'm reading everything about what happened, and I'm reading the Gainesville Sun newspaper, Jacksonville newspapers, all over the country, just reading articles about what's happened. So it's great. It's great. It's you brought it up, and it's true. That Todd Golden is probably the new best flavor of the week in college basketball coaching. He's very young still. I know he went to St. Mary's University in California. Played for them for 3 years. Played basketball, pro basketball for a Jewish league, because he is Jewish, and decided to come back and make a go of being a coach. So bounced around a few jobs, got some great experience under his belt. And he knew when Florida came a-calling, he said, damn, he says, I get to coach the Florida Gators and watch the SEC in action.
Yeah.
Can't get any better than that, Daniel.
Yeah, and to see the work that he's done and to see everything that's come about here in these last, few months, of course, this season for 2024-25, and in these last few weeks for the NCAA tournament, to see the Florida Gators, who were given the 4 seed, come all the way through this, the 4th number 1 seed, to be given the 4th number 1 seed of 4 number 1 seeds, to say, hey, we're going to give you the last number 1 seed. We're going to put Auburn ahead of you. We're going to put Houston ahead of you. We're going to put Duke ahead of you. And they turn around and they win a national championship. Like I said, there's only 2 times in history that every number 1 seed made it to the end of the men's Division I NCAA tournament since 1985. It was back in 2008, and here in 2025 are the only 2 times it's happened. So we got to find out who the actual true number 1 seed is, and it was the 4th number 1 seed. Not the number 1 overall, not the 2nd, which was Duke, not the 3rd, which was Houston. It was Florida the whole time. So shout out to and by the way, en route to winning a national championship, may people never forget this. The Florida Gators in the 2nd round, in the round of 32, had to defeat back-to-back reigning national champion UConn. So in order for Florida to win a national championship, they had to defeat the reigning national champion. And they did that in the round of 32. So they won that game. They still had to do the Sweet 16, the Elite 8, the Final Four, and the championship after defeating the reigning national champion, which makes it even more sweet. Papa Joe, what do you think about that? That the Gators, en route to winning a national championship, had to go through the team that won a national championship the last 2 years.
Oh, it's great. They played really good basketball. They're a true team. Golden's he's deep. He's got 3 guys that are over 6'9". He can go 9 or 10 on his bench. He played everything perfect. It's a thrill. It's a thrill to watch them play like that. And it's unfortunate that they didn't face Duke, because I can guarantee this. This is what the kids down here. This is what the kids wanted. They wanted Duke bad. But they got upset because they thought that they're being punched on a red-headed stepchild, and it's Duke is snobby. Let's face it. I mean, they're the blue bloods. They're the snobs, and I know that Florida wanted them bad, but someone else knocked them up, which is good. Houston is a very good team. Look at all the 4 teams there were good. They played well. Some teams played other than better. Walter Clayton turns out to be probably the best point guard in the country, and for his efforts, he's going to wind up being a rich man, because he's going to be probably selected in the top 5 guys in the draft. So everyone, Florida looks like they're having a bunch of guys back too. I do have to say that Condon, who is a stud himself, he's a sophomore, and I think he's leaning toward going to the pros. I wish he wouldn't, because he didn't do too well in the tournament because he had a bad ankle, and I think he needs to brush up. I'd love to see him come back and team up with Huff in our 7'9" center. I think kind of needs a little bit more seasoning. So the Gators lose 3 guys. They lose. They'll actually lose 2. And we'll see what Condon does. I want to see him come back. That's for sure. And the rest of it, what does Duke do? I mean, what the hell? They have 5-star guys all around the world. I imagine they're going to be the favorite, shall we say, for getting in a tournament and running it through. I think Shire did a good job with what he had. Of course, the best player in the country played for him, so it was exciting all the way around. The games were exciting. They went down to the wire. I mean, how could you not love college basketball? I mean, it's great.
Yeah, so I mean, seeing the games, like you said, come down to the wire. Houston was up. Florida came back. Houston at one point, I think, was up by 12 points, and Florida came all the way back in this matchup. And it was crazy how the game ended, unfortunately, for the Houston Cougars. It did not get a shot off. Looked like they were down by 2. It looked like they wanted to take a 3. They went to the top of the key. Then they went to the right wing. There was nothing there. Then they forced the ball over back to the top of the key. And then you got a player that jumps up in the air, doesn't take the shot. He has to let go of the ball because if he comes down with the ball, it's a travel. And so he lets the ball go. Then he tries to play defense and block out the Gators from getting the ball. And then another Gator comes in, chomps that ball away, takes it in his teeth, and the game is over. So that's, they don't get a shot off. Kelvin Sampson's face was priceless to see just how he looked and was like, looking at the play, essentially like, we didn't even get a shot off. We didn't do anything. So it's tough for Houston. It's hard for Houston. They've never won a national title. They've gotten close, but they've never won a men's basketball national title. The Gators have won it, and Papa Joe gets to do the Gator chomp all over the Lando Lagoon today, tomorrow, and the next day. PJ, have you done the chomp to MT yet? And if you have, did she feed you after?
Oh, no, she'll kick the tar out of me, Daniel. I can't do that. I can't do that. She's we're a family here. I support FSU and she supports Florida, so what the hell?
PJ here, and you know what? Compromise. That's what you need in a good relationship, and PJ and MT have a relationship that remind me that love does exist. Here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Papa Joe is joining me here on Friday. Typically, he's with me on a Thursday, but due to a doctor's appointment yesterday, I had to postpone and make some changes, so I appreciate your patience. PJ, we have Major League Baseball on the other side of things, and to get into your thoughts on this, I want to preface, like I normally do, where things stand at the time of our conversation. So, in the American League, the Yankees lead the American League East. They are followed by the Toronto Blue Jays, then the Red Sox, then the Rays down in Florida 5-7, and then the Baltimore Orioles. In the AL Central, we got 2 winning records now. The Detroit Tigers and the Kansas City Royals. Detroit 7-5. Kansas City is 7-6. Then the Guardians, then the Twins, and the White Sox are the first team, I believe. Yes, they're the first team in the country this year of 30 Major League Baseball franchises. The Chicago White Sox are the first team to double-digit losses. They are 2-10. In the American League West, the Texas Rangers are 9-4. The Angels are 8-4, and they're followed by the Astros, the Mariners, and the Athletics. In the National League East, the Phillies are tied with the Mets at 8-4, and the Miami Marlins are 6-6, followed by the Nationals and the Braves. The Braves were 1-8 since then. Since starting 1-8, they've gone 2-1, and they're now 3-9. In the NL Central, the Chicago Cubs have 9 wins. The Brewers are behind them with 7. They both have the same amount of losses, which is 6. followed by the Cardinals, the Pirates, and the Reds. And in the NL West, the San Diego Fathers are 10-3, the San Francisco Giants are 9-3, the Los Angeles Dodgers are 10-4, then my Diamondbacks are on the right side of things at 7-6, and the Rockies are 3-9. So as we look to the country, there's only 2 teams in the nation with 10 wins, the Padres and the Dodgers, and there's only 1 team in the nation with 10 losses, the Chicago White Sox. With that being said, PJ, I send it to you to tell us what's been happening in baseball.
Well, I think the season's been going slow. I think the pitchers are still on top of things. The hitters are starting to come around a little bit. I'll go over some stats there pretty soon. But yesterday, with Mary T was out and about, and I had put my major league package on, and I caught the Angels. And I must have brought Mike Trout some luck because he went yard twice. So he's got, I think, 5 home runs now and 12 RBIs or something like that. But he's still not hitting very well. He's not hitting for a good average. The Angels surprising some people. They surprised the hell out of me. They got 10 wins. LA got 8 wins. With Trout leading the way, if their pitching comes around, they're going to be good. They're going to be okay. They got to give Texas and Houston a shot at that. I do have some stats, and we'll go over that. And I really have some really great stats after I do this. In the American League, George Springer of Toronto is leading average-wise. He's hitting a cool .429. He's a very excellent player. Used to be with Houston for years. Home runs, RBIs, we know who that is. Aaron Judge leads the league with 6 homers and RBIs with 20. 1 loss, Zach Eflin, Baltimore. Max Fried of the Yankees. They got 2 wins. There's a slew of other guys that with a few 2 and 1s. Can't really put it together quite. ERA, Martin Perez of Chicago. That's the White Sox, folks, not the Cubs. The White Sox. He's leading. This is amazing. He's leading an ERA with a .73. Now, you stated that Chicago has lost 10 games already. How can this guy pitch so well with a .73 ERA and they still lose 10 games? The White Sox are an absolute disaster. They have been for 5 years, not getting any better. Luke Jackson, Texas, has 5 saves. Team batting. The Yankees are leading the American League with an average of .265. Excellent. Team pitching, Kansas City with a 2.97. Now, folks, 2.97 is not a good ERA, period. But the American League, they hit more than the National League. The National League pitches better, and you'll see the statistics as we go forward. We go to the National League, and you went through the standings okay. Jackson Merrill of San Diego is hitting .378, leading the league. Home runs, Kyle Schwarber of Philly has got 6. RBIs, Tio Hernandez has got 16, and Pete Alonso from the Mets has 16. So that's okay. One loss, Justin Steele of the Chicago Cubs. Anthony Banda of the Dodgers lead with 3 wins. ERA, Spencer Schellenbach. That's a mess right there. Got a .45 ERA. Saves, Rob Suarez, San Diego. He's got 6 saves. Team batting, San Diego's leading at .286. No surprise there because they got 10 wins. And team pitching, the Mets are throwing up a microscopic 2.10 ERA, and they are right there. They are right there. I think that they can play with Philadelphia. Philadelphia's got better pitching. I have no idea. I haven't broken it down yet how New York can have that kind of ERA, but the numbers never lie. So there are some good baseball coming up here. I know the last couple of days has been really frigid in some parts of the country. In Milwaukee, yesterday was 36. Detroit's 40. They're trying to play baseball. Baltimore, Boston, it's not very warm yet. So you see guys bundled up. They had all sorts of things to keep them warm, especially their gloves. Ball seems to carry thin air a lot better. we talk about good teams and we talk about poor teams. We know that the White Sox and the Rockies they're two terrible teams. Colorado's 3-9, Chicago 2-10 is what you said.
Yeah.
They're not going anywhere. However, when you look at the standings from the National League West, this is where it gets interesting. San Diego, San Francisco, LA, almost all have triple-digit or double-digit wins. Last year, Arizona sort of snuck in there. They're going to have to play a lot better because they're going to have to catch three teams, not just one or two, because it looks like San Francisco putting it together. It doesn't mean that these teams won't go into slumps. Sure, they'll go into slumps, but good pitching can pull you out of slumps. So San Diego at 10-3, San Francisco 9-3, the Dodgers 10-4. Remember, the Dodgers started out 8-0, so that means they're 2-4 in the last 6 games. The league is catching up to a little bit. Zona 7-6, Colorado's not going anywhere. The individual stats are coming around. The cream is going to rise to the top. When I'm done with this broadcast, I'm going to go check San Diego's entire roster to see who's hitting what. They got to be killing it as a team. They average 286 as a hitting. Of course, that's going to go down. We know that, but still, they're playing the best ball. They're playing the best ball of anyone in either league. So kudos to them, and watch San Francisco and LA try to stay with them, and Arizona bringing up the rear.
Yeah, and like you said, and going over this and breaking down what's going on even more and giving some of those ERAs and different things that have happened, PJ, I appreciate that, to paint the picture and dive deeper into the standings. Do you have a team right now? Because we know, there's the expectation that the Dodgers are going to be good, and there's the expectation of the Phillies, and the Mets have spent a lot of money, so there's some thoughts there. The Yankees are always a team on people's minds, but in the American League and in the National League, in both leagues, is there a team in a positive way that you feel like is standing out beyond the Yankees, beyond the Mets, beyond the Phillies, the Dodgers, the names we're used to hearing? Is there a team in the American League and a team in the National League that has started off the season and kind of caught your eye in a positive way?
Well, I don't like the American League East. No one is really stepping up, and they're all. Look, New York lost a series to Detroit, so they're not playing the best baseball, even though they're 7-5. The one I keep my eye on, as I do every year at this time, is Texas. It's having a Western Division in Houston. Houston and Texas, I keep an eye on those guys because they got the players. Texas is playing a little bit better this year than they did last year to start the season. Houston made a tremendous rally last year to sweep the pennant. As I predicted, they were going to win the pennant. They were 10 games behind. They just had that good of a team. The only problem with Houston right now is they don't have Alex Bregman, who went and signed a multi-million-dollar contract with the Boston Red Sox. So I'm looking at Texas on the American side, and on the National League side. I like the Western Division. I like the San Diego, San Francisco, LA, and Arizona. But the team that sticks out to me is the one I've talked about last year a lot, and that's Philadelphia, because they have three frontline pitchers, and they have Schwarber and Harper and Baum to do the hitting. They play excellent defense. I really like Philadelphia at this time of the year, although it's really early to do that. So if I were to say you're going to put me in a corner, I would say Texas in the American League and Philly in the National League. That'll make your buddy happy down in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I know that Jerry appreciates that very much. And so, PJ, like you said, you're going to get into some statistics and break down what's going on there. I know you take a look at hitting and pitching and defense and whatnot. I know you alluded to some ERAs and different pieces that are going on, but wherever you'd like to take it now, I open that up to you as we look to a season where we're about, 13 games into the season, early on into the season, what you can tell us about the statistics side of things.
Well, this is a statistic that maybe a lot of people don't know about. and I'm going to branch off from the hitting and pitching here a little bit. And this is in, you want to check it out, it's in CNBC, official Major League team valuations of 2025. Folks, you can pull it up and follow it with me, or you can listen to me. But these figures that I'm going to throw at you are mind-boggling. They don't make sense, but they do make sense, because every one of these teams are businesses, and they have earnings before interest and taxes, depreciation, amortization, all that kind of stuff. The Yankees lead the entire baseball world with a valuation of $8 billion. Now, revenue off of that $8 billion is only $705 million, which is no slack. But earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, amortization is only $7 million. They got to pay tax on $7 million after being an $8 billion company. Boggles the mind. Debt as percent of value, only 1%. The Steinbrenners are a great team. They're a great team. When George was there, he really ruled the roost. His kids have caught on good. I think it's great. You keep going down the line, and you'll see the second team is the Los Angeles Dodgers. They're only valued at $5.8 billion. Revenue of $701 million. Earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, amortization, $10 million. That's pitiful. 5.8. They make $701 million, and they only pay taxes on $10 million. Oh boy. And you wonder why these guys can pay so much money for these teams, and including football and hockey and basketball and so on. They're money makers. They're money makers. Now we know that teams like the Yankees and the Dodgers have great deals with their cable companies of their selected parts of the country. Certainly, LA's got a huge one, and the Yankees, they take over everything, even more so than the Mets. Now, when you want to compare a little bit, I go down to number 7 in this list. It's the New York Mets. They're only $3.15 billion, $446 million in revenue, and they're losing $272 million in earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. So they're losing money. Don't know why. Why? Because they pay Soto multi-million dollars.
Yeah.
All these stuff. But the Cohen people of the Mets are smart. I mean, this guy was a hedge fund manager. You don't make mistakes when you're dealing with the stock market. So all these guys that we talk about make their money. Most of them make their money in the stock market. Now, we used to have, for the San Diego or Los Angeles Angels, we used to have Ohtani and Trout on the payroll at the same time.
Yeah.
But this year, they're only worth $2.7 billion. Their revenue is $398 million. They're only paying taxes on $27 million. And they have zero debt. So, very one up. That's why they got rid of Ohtani. They weren't going to pay him $600 million. They were going to try, but he wasn't going to do that. So there's all sorts of information on this list right here. And let's go to Arizona Diamondbacks, because that's your team. All right, they're number 20. They're valued at $1.75 billion. The revenue is $351 million. They're only paying tax on $9 million, 7% debt. Excellent. Very well-run team. And I think if they loosen their purse strings a little bit, they'll be able to get some better players in there too. Of course, Corbin Burns coming over, signing with them is huge. And you've got the baby boomers. They got Corbin Carroll and those guys, Marte. Arizona's a well-run franchise and a good business. Now, the one that we always fuss about all the time is the Chicago White Sox. Now, they're pitiful. We know that. They just don't put a product on the field. However, they're worth $2.15 billion. They made $315 million. They lost $15 million for taxes, 9% debt. So they're not doing it in the boardroom, and they're not doing it on the field. So, yeah, that's just a few exercises there in how to run these teams. It's the last team you would think would be Tampa Bay, but it's not. It's Miami. Both of them are very close. Tampa Bay is worth $1.4 billion. Miami $1.2 billion. Tampa Bay made $304 million. Miami $296 million. Tampa Bay paid $33 million interest before taxes. Miami $19 million. The only problem is that Miami has a 38% debt ratio. So both of those teams are at the bottom of the deal here, business-wise, and I think they're not playing very well on the field either.
Well, and like you said, I mean, when you do these valuations of what a team is worth and what they're paying on and this, that, and whatever, what made you want to do this? When you give this background and really talking about something we've never talked about here on the show, what kind of puts you in that place that you wanted to look up these valuations, see what they're paying on, see what they're worth, and see how each team is see how each franchise essentially is running and what type of business they are?
There had to be some information out there, and when I looked it up, I understood what I was looking at. After this hot stove leaves, when so many teams spent hundreds of millions of dollars on these players, Burns, especially for Arizona, most of these teams spent a lot of money. So when you break it down, and I'm looking at it, and I'm saying, let's see, how can Arizona spend $200 million for Corbin Burns? And let me go look at their numbers. I look at their numbers, and they say, well, they're not doing that bad. So they're doing okay. And look at the Brewers. They're only worth $1.7 billion. They got the best stadium in baseball. It's beautiful. The roof comes off, up and down, around between. They make $337 million, $29 billion in taxes. Danny, the more you look at sports, the more you have to look at it as a business. When I was in the racing business, when I took over some of the tracks that my ownership bought, I liked the sport of horse racing, harness racing, highlight, and dog racing. I liked those sports. However, I didn't view them as a sports. When I started running the businesses, I only looked at it as a business. How can this track make money for my ownership? That's what I had to do. I didn't care if I loved it or not. If I couldn't make money, I'd be out the damn door, and the track would be sold or something, which eventually they all were sold. They were sold for a lot of money. So every team has a story. They have a background. Most of these people that take over these teams are very wealthy to begin with. We know about the Steinbrenners, Dodgers, the Guggenheim Baseball Management. Guggenheim is another interest fund. The Ricketts family for the Cubs. Stephen Alexander Cohen for the Mets. Jerry Reinsdorf for the White Sox. He's been around for years. He probably bought that franchise for a couple of drinks, and now they're worth billions of dollars. If you look into it, these teams are run as a business, but they're a sport.
Yeah.
And when you're in the boardroom, when you're around, you're going through your gyrations of trying to make money. You got all your spreadsheets every which way, and you're trying to figure out which way. You got your accountants. The worst time for me was when our accountants had to come and check our books. I had one boardroom open, huge table, papers every which way, and they were grilling me left and right about how I spent this, how did I do that, why did I do that. And that's the toughest time, when you got to sit down. You understand that even though I'm in a sport, and it's racing, It's still a business, and a business has to make money, Daniel.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, when you're trying to figure this out and paying these players so much money, I mean, you value a franchise, you see what a franchise is worth. And this morning here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, we're talking about baseball franchises. But with any business, we're trying to value what is the business worth, right? What does the business have coming in? Because you talk about gross, but then there's profit, right? There's the revenue that you have. Whatever you're grossing isn't your profit. Whatever you're grossing is not your revenue. What you're grossing, what you're bringing in, okay, that's a certain amount. And so then you have to look at your expenses. You have to look at what you're putting out. So you could have a team that is grossing a lot of money, right? You got a team like the Yankees that is a franchise that has made money hand over fist for, eons upon eons. But then you also look at the fact that of their payroll and what they're paying for. The Mets have had a lot of money to spend over the years. And you have to value what that is, okay? So you spend a ton of money, but if the Mets aren't winning, arguably, let's say, right? The Mets aren't winning, they're not doing what they need to do in the win-loss column. Well, you've spent a lot of money, but do you have as much of that money coming in? Are people going to keep coming to see the Mets and keep coming to see Juan Soto and Pete Alonso and these guys that you paid money for if you're losing? So really, that's what I'm thinking about when you're talking about this, PJ, is I'm saying to myself, okay, for argument's sake, this team is worth $1 billion, but they spent $2 billion on 3 players. And if they're not winning and you're not putting butts in the seats, or maybe because you're spending $2 billion on these players, you've now jacked up the prices of your seats, you got to try and recoup that money, because it's all well and good if the Dodgers are worth $1 billion, but they're spending over $2 billion. So then you have to look at that and say, okay, they're spending more than what they're worth. So then they up the price of the tickets, but then people can't afford those tickets. So now they're not necessarily going to the games or watching on television. So now you got a team you're spending a lot of money for, but you're not bringing in the money to recoup what you're spending. And so now, the Dodgers might win a championship, but end the season at a loss. That's something I'm thinking about.
Yes, and most of these teams, when you're looking at the bottom line, most of these teams own their own food and beverage business too.
Yeah.
So, you're getting 50,000 people a night coming in. They have to buy programs. They have to print their own programs. They have to buy the hot dogs and drinks and things like that for the kids. Last year, I gave this example going to watch the Milwaukee Brewers. A family of 4 watching the Milwaukee Brewers to go out, buy the tickets, and enjoy the games is $500, $500 to $600. That's ridiculous. Now, if you want to compare baseball to some of the other franchises, the largest one is the Dallas Cowboys. They're worth $11 billion. And then the Golden State Warriors are worth $9.4 billion. Then comes the Yankees. Well, as much as a jerk Jerry Jones is, as he is a good businessman, he took a chance and built that monostructure out in the middle of nothing out there. And it's being used for everything, so he made the right deal. His teams, we know, are not that competitive. They should be better competitive. But, I don't really think he cares about – he's a big egotist, we know that. But I don't think he cares that much. I think he just cares about a bottom line. And he makes a lot of money. And now you talk about the Golden State Warriors, they're $9.4 billion, but their bottom line isn't anywhere near what the Cowboys are, because they only pay 15 players, as opposed to the NFL plays 53 players. So, all in all, it's a lesson in economics. If people want to really find out about it, there's plenty to read, and it is how good are your accountants? How good are you going to keep me out of jail if I'm worth $10 billion and I only pay $30 million in taxes? How good are my accountants? Well, they're damn good.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the CNBC thing that you were talking about here this morning. I found it online here inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios on Wake Up Call, speaking with Papa Joe about the valuations of teams. And so I could definitely appreciate this as I'm taking a look at it right in front of me right now. There's another thing that we've talked about on the show, and I'm going to bring it up again here and let everybody know what we look at. Cost to attend a Major League Baseball game in 2025. This is where we're at right now. The most expensive game to go see, or the most expensive team to go see, I should say. Now, I'm going to tell you this. This is on average a family of 4. So we're talking about a family of 4, and I'm going to tell you the most expensive team to go see. I don't think you're going to be surprised. The Los Angeles Dodgers are 1. Los Angeles Dodgers cheapest ticket for a family of 4, $304.80. Lot parking, $35. If we get 2 beers, right, mom and dad get a alcoholic drink, $18.88. And we get sodas for the kids, $14. And let's buy 4 hot dogs, $27. We're talking about a family of 4 going to one Dodger game this season in 2025, spending a couple cents shy of $400 a game. The second highest, you're not going to believe me, PJ. The second highest, the Tampa Bay Rays. $230.38 for tickets for a family of 4. Lot parking, $31.95. 2 beers, instead of being $18.88, $30. The sodas are cheaper, $9.98. The hot dogs a little bit more, $27.96. If you take a family of 4 to see the Tampa Bay Rays, now keep in mind, folks, they don't have a new stadium plan. Their old stadium they can't use. So they're not even playing in a Major League Baseball stadium right now. And if you want to take a family of 4 to a Tampa Bay Rays game, it's $330.27. I'll pause there, PJ. How surprised are you that if the Dodgers are the most expensive game for a family of 4 in 2025, how surprised are you that the Rays are the second most expensive to the Dodgers?
That is a surprise, but it's not really a surprise, because Joe and I have traveled over there several times to go to games. We went one game last year where Ohtani was playing, and this is funny. The Dodgers are playing the Rays, and the people outside were just waiting for Ohtani to come up to sign autographs. As we're walking into the stadium, and it was almost a sellout then, seems like every other kid had an Ohtani shirt on. Not a Rays shirt, Ohtani shirts. They're white kids too, not Japanese or whatever, you know. The power of the dollar. Now, Tampa Bay, they're going to prove a point this year. I think what they're going to try to do is I think they're going to try to use the Steinbrenner Field as leverage against the counties that they want to do business in Tampa, St. Pete. I think they're going to use it and say, look what we've done here. Steinbrenner's Field only holds 15,000 people. We sell out every night. We do this, we do that. They got their own food and beverage, like you say. It's great. So I think they're going to use this as leverage. Of course, I don't think they'll come back. And I don't really know if they started repairing the roof. It may not be repairable. I'm sure it is, but at what cost?
Right.
You're going to spend $500 million to recover it or take the thing all down? What are you going to do with it? And just look at Stuart Sternberg is no dummy. He bought this franchise for a song years ago, and he had one of his buddies at Friedman, who is now the GM of the Dodgers, and they ran it well. They were tight. They couldn't pay anyone any money. You know that Joe Maddox was there for years. Joe Madden, now Kevin Cash is there.
Yeah.
They earn their stripes. They get manager of the years. They have a bottom basement payroll, and yet they still win. So it tells you that Sternberg has an eye for money, has an eye for talent, and when you can sign Joe Madden for $5 million a year and still win, you're doing a heck of a job. And now with Kevin Cash doing the same thing, they win on a shoestring.
Yeah, and looking at the teams that are above, now the average cost to go to a game this season, 2025, for a Major League Baseball game, 30 franchises, the average cost for a family is $208. So that's $119.32 for the cheapest available tickets for a family of 4. That's $29.25
for the family to pay for parking on average, $19.91 for 2 beers on average, $13.93 for 2 sodas on average, and $25.59 on average for 4 hot dogs. So the average ticket price for a family of 4 plus the food. So food, drink, ticket, parking. The average price to go to a game with a family of 4 in 2025 is $208. The teams that are above average in that $208 median price to go to a game this season, the Dodgers 1, the Rays 2, the Cubs 3, the Red Sox 4, the Mets 5, the Phillies 6, the Padres 7, the Braves 8, my Diamondbacks 9, the Athletics, who are also not playing in a regular stadium, 10, and the Pittsburgh Pirates 11. The teams that fall below the average of $208 to go for a family of 4 to a game, the Twins, the Yankees, believe it or not, the Rangers, the Mariners, the Giants, the Tigers, the Astros, the Nationals, the Orioles, the Guardians, the Brewers, the Royals, the Angels, the Blue Jays, the Cardinals, the Marlins, and the 3 cheapest family of 4 outings this season. The 3rd cheapest, the Chicago White Sox. For a family of 4, you can get tickets for $63.28. You can get 4 tickets for the price of 1. $27 to park, $21.78 for 2 beers, $12.44 for 2 sodas, and $20.74 for 4 hot dogs. You can take a family of 4 to see the Chicago White Sox at $145.24. The 2nd cheapest, the Colorado Rockies, $61.40. Just to put this into perspective, if you want to buy tickets to see Kevin Hart's comedy show, it'll cost you about $100 a ticket, $70 a ticket. You can go see the Colorado Rockies with 4 people for $61.80. You can get your parking for $25. You can get 2 beers in Colorado for $7.78 total. You can get 2 sodas for $12.44 and $29.04 for 4 hot dogs. You can go take a family of 4 to the Colorado Rockies this year for $135.66. But this team said, hold my beer. The cheapest ticket in America for a family of 4 to go to a game this season, the cheapest franchise, the Cincinnati Reds, $57.60 for 4 tickets. That is averaging that each ticket is under $20. It will cost you $8 to park. Which is less than parking at the New York State Fair. $17.63 for 2 beers, $13.32 for 2 sodas, $27.96 for 4 hot dogs. You can go right now to a Cincinnati Reds game with a family of 4 and spend $124.51. To put that into perspective, I went out for a nice dinner on a date, and it cost me $200 for 2 people. I could go to a Cincinnati Reds game with a date and 2 kids and spend $80 less. Your thoughts, PJ?
Well, when our company was looking for places to buy, one thing you had to look at is ancillary incomes, not just the money that you could make on a bet.
Yeah,
that's standard. That doesn't change. Whatever state you're in, you paid a certain amount of money for a bet. Now, what puts you over the winning line is, do you own your food and beverage?
yeah.
We would not go into any situation or any deal if we did not own our own food and beverage. Now that's liquor and everything. So if you average a couple thousand people a night, and they're paying for programs, which you print yourself, you pay for parking, which you pay for yourself, they pay for valet parking, which they pay, and you pay for food and beverage and liquor. And if you don't do well at the pari-mutuel windows, at least you're making money on the food and beverage. And that's what really swung a lot of our companies. We made money because we owned our own food and beverage. And that's the same thing these guys are doing. There's nothing different, although the prices are outrageous. I mean, some of those prices are filthy. My goodness. But kudos to the ones that can do it. You know, the guys like Sternberg and Steinbrenner and Cohen. These guys have a financial background. They know what they're doing. And you can see the results.
Yeah, you know, and just to put it, I mean, to even put it into perspective more, Chicago has the White Sox and the Cubs. The Cubs have the third highest outing price for a family of four, and the Chicago White Sox are the third cheapest. So you got two teams in Chicago. Chicago's got the third highest price point for the Cubs. The White Sox have the third cheapest price point. And then you look at the Los Angeles Dodgers as the most expensive outing for a family of four. And then you look to the Los Angeles Angels, and the Los Angeles Angels are 24th out of 30. It'll cost you $161.26 on average to take a family of four to an Angels game in Los Angeles this season. And it'll cost you about $400 to be in the same city and go to Dodgers Stadium. So I think, you know, for the teams there, for the cities that have two teams, that's what I find really interesting, is saying the Dodgers are the most expensive. The Angels are under that median line. And then to look at Chicago and say the Cubs are the third highest, but the White Sox are the third lowest. Those are really interesting things, PJ. Same city, totally different price point.
True. Bottom line, bud.
Yeah. So that coming from PJ and myself, Dan Tortora, here on Wake Up Call. We're going to take a step aside inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. When we spin back around, PJ and I will wrap up our conversation for this week. Thank you for being with us in the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your kind words and your generosity. I cannot tell you how much it means to my heart. We'll be back right after this. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to K-9 Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see K-9 Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call K-9 Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9Campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9Campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to K-9 Campground.
Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com.
Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, we are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're going to be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever going to have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Can't appreciate you enough for being here with us inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. PJ and I got a couple more minutes to spend with you, and I'm going to throw it off to PJ here and give him the opportunity to tell us where we're going to go. What do you want to talk about, PJ?
Well, when I was going through the averages and statistics of the teams and the players, I noticed that the San Diego Padres were leading everything. And that's why they've got a 10-4 record. Their pitching isn't the best.
Yeah.
When you look at their lineup and what they're doing, these guys are all killers. I mean, first of all, most of them are all-stars. Jackson Merrill is hitting 378. Jake Cornsworth is hitting 257. Fernando Tatis hitting 364. Luis Ariz used to be with Miami hitting 283. Manny Machado hitting 340. Martin Maldonado, the catcher's hitting 333. Gavin Sheets, DH, hitting 303. Xander Bogaerts used to be with the Boston Red Sox. He's hitting 304. Oscar Gonzalez is a spare player. He's hitting 400. So you see what they're killing the ball. They're probably averaging 7 or 8 runs a game. Now, once you go to pitching, though, their better pitcher is Dylan Cease. We know that. He used to be with Chicago. He signed a free agent contract. Although he's only 1-1, his ERA is 7.98. That's not where it's going to stay. This guy will bring it way down. I don't know if he's down under 3, but he's got a long way to go yet. Jeremiah Estrada is 1.13. Yuki Matsui is at 1.80 ERA. Nick Crivetta used to be with Boston too, 2.7 ERA. Adrian Mungan at 1.23 ERA. Randy Vasquez 1.72. So you see they're balancing out the good hitting, scoring runs against kind of a stingy defense. The pitching is not the best. They're better than mediocre, not mediocre, just better than that. And they're winning games 10-8, 9-7, 5-2, things like that. You know, they're scoring a lot of runs, hitting a lot of homers, and they're a crew. I wouldn't want to face them. I don't know what the Dodgers and the Giants and Arizona is going to do when they face them. Last year they didn't. They had this kind of potential. They were bopping the heck out of the ball. But as the season wore down, it was clear that Los Angeles and Arizona were the better teams. And that's subject to what we talked about. Arizona went as far as they could.
Yeah.
The Dodgers were the world champions. So besides Dave Roberts being the best manager in baseball for the Dodgers, San Diego is no slouch. And I'm thinking when these guys start playing 3 and 4 game series, it's something I'm going to watch on my Major League Baseball channel.
Yeah, you know, and as you should. I mean, the San Diego Padres, I mean, they sprung up last year. They did some really good things, and obviously they're working to do that this year. And, you know, for their manager, Mike Schultz, and the work that he's doing, it's been awesome. It's been awesome to see San Diego. I mean, in the state of California, they're overshadowed by the Dodgers, but you can't look at them and forget about what the San Diego Padres can do. They've been willing to spend money. They've put a lot out there, and I give them a lot of credit. So I appreciate you bringing that up. The San Francisco Giants have been doing well, and the Diamondbacks are they're a little bit above 500 here, but because all those other teams are doing well, it kind of gets lost in the shuffle of things. The NL West may be the best division in baseball. We'll see as we go, and obviously chronicling that, PJ and I every year talking about Major League Baseball. So Papa Joe, as always, I send you and MT and Joey and the family my love, and I appreciate you. I appreciate your prayers, appreciate your support, appreciate all of your kind words, your wisdom, and your knowledge, and I appreciate the fact that you let me share you with the world every week.
Okay, thanks, bud. Take care of yourself now.
I will, you too. And coming from Papa Joe here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We have one more step aside to take, and we'll wrap up the week right after this.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks comes to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. They are your one-stop sports card and trading card shop, and in my opinion, they're a place that reminds you to be a kid no matter how old you get, and that is right on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, right off of Teal Ave, open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6 and on Sundays from 10 to 5. A fantastic place, and the wonderful, wonderful team starts with Josh and Anthony, and it trickles through the entire family at GG Cards and Breaks. Go and see them today. You will not be disappointed, folks. I appreciate all the work that they do, all the fun that we have, and the fact that they care so much about this community. We had a fantastic trade night last night at the Wildcat Sports Pub, a jam-packed room. There was nowhere to sit. There was like nothing available. Thank you for showing up for GG Cards and Breaks and the Wildcat Sports Pub, two of our very proud partners here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And with that being said, here on the broadcast, here on Wake Up Call, where sports meets life inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, I want to thank you for being with me every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Facebook.com and YouTube.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com, live internet streaming radio. I cannot thank you enough for being so devout to the show and connected to the show. It means the world to me, and I just appreciate that you're picking up what I'm putting down here, trying to make the world a better place every single day. Thank you for the love. And of course, you could find us on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. And of course, from New York to North Carolina, the Brooklyn Pickle on Southern Pines. You'll find them at 1788 Old Morganton Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. Get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle and make sure that you do that today. Let them know that DT sent you down the street from Pinehurst Golf Course that the PGA knows so well. And our partners here in Central and Upstate New York. Many thanks to our studio partner, our exclusive studio partner, Great Lakes Honda City, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Breaks, Servo-Mation, Ma and Pa's Avicoli's Mother's Cupboard, K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Pizza Man, Brian's Landing, and we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins. It's Fins Up every single month on Wake Up Call. Find your Dolphins Wednesdays during Dolphin Time at 9 a.m. Eastern Time with student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni joining the show. Nobody covers the Dolphins or has ever covered the Dolphins like we do here on Wake Up Call. The consistency and having every single sport covered with Lemoyne College. We appreciate the Dolphins. You can find them by going to youtube.com/WakeUpCallDT. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, find our Lemoyne playlist, and of course the Dolphins are also on WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to LeMoyneDolphins.com and Fins Up. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Bobcats every single month in the Bobcat Buzz. You'll find the Bobcats, student athletes, coaches, administration, and more. All you got to do is go to youtube.com/WakeUpCallDT. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our BSC Syracuse playlist. You can also find the Bobcats by going to WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to Syracuse.bscbobcats.com and go Bobcats. The Binghamton University Bearcats are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Bearcats every Tuesday during Bearcat Time. Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time worldwide with student athletes, coaches, administration, alumni, all here with us throughout the year. The Bearcats can be found in their archive on youtube.com/WakeUpCallDT. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, find our Binghamton playlist on our YouTube channel. You can also find the Bearcats by going to WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to BinghamtonBearcats.com and go Bearcats. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I thank you for tuning into today's broadcast. Inside of MomPawsPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', the annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt. Lead, time is a blessing, was the topic today. Proudly presented by the wonderful team at Chick-fil-A Cicero. Learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver. The owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, Jim Sikowski, is looking for someone to join his family, to join his aid team as he battles ALS, and he does it in such a spirited, incredible, amazing, and positive way. He's looking for more help, and you can find out more by going to Facebook and searching his personal page, Jim Sikowski. That's SZATKOWSKI. The top dog of the week, proudly presented by K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare, honoring Todd Golden, the head coach of the Florida Gators, and honoring the people that love you, especially when you struggle to love yourself. Papa Joe, and talking about the NCAA tournament, his Go Gators winning the 2025 NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Championship, and of course talking Major League Baseball with you. With that being said, Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT, from the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. As we always say here on Wake Up Call, God bless, no stress, do your best. Please, please be good to each other.